Welcome to the State of the Buccaneers podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Pfefferkorn, and this is the biggest and only fan-run podcast of the East Tennessee State Buccaneers. We'll get right back to you after the tune. Welcome back to the State of the Buccaneers podcast. We have a special episode tonight. It's been a crazy week for Buccaneer athletics. As you saw earlier in the week, Tre Lamb left for Tulsa. The coaching search has gone fast, and tonight we have a new coach. We'll get to that in a minute, but we're going to talk about that in a minute. But tonight I'm welcoming Casey Wilkins on the podcast. He's been on before. You've seen him at Buccaneer games, seen him on Twitter. So we're going to talk about the hiring tonight and sort of talk about the future of ETSU football and talk a little bit of some basketball there at the end. But without further ado, the hiring was announced tonight. It is Will Healy, the former Austin Peay and Charlotte head coach. I guess we'll get started. It was announced today. It happened all pretty quickly. I know Doc Sander on Monday said it'd go quickly, and it certainly has because we have a hiring on Thursday night, announced Thursday night.
Mm-hmm.
What are your overall thoughts on the hire, Casey?
He wasn't the candidate I wanted,
mm-hmm.
but I'm ready to rally behind him and support him.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll have the pieces he needs to succeed here.
I was the exact same.
What were you going to say?
I was going to say, I agree with you on there. I don't think Will Healy is the splashy hire some of us were expecting, especially coming off, sort of rebuilding to that point where we were with Sanders. Coming off a 7-5 year, being one of the FCS powers, almost knocking off North Dakota State this past season. But I think Will Healy, I think he will be a decent hire. He has ties to the region. He's from Tennessee. He's from Chattanooga. He coached at Austin Peay, coached it in the SoCon before. He got his start as a wide receivers coach at Chattanooga himself. I think under Rick Huseman. Yeah, under Rick Huseman. Who's now at Richmond. But it's been there's some other names mentioned in the search. Mike Houston, the former East Carolina head coach, also coached at James Madison, coached them to a national championship. That's what Doc was referring to in his press conference, or on the coaches show at least. He also coached in the SoCon at the Citadel. Had the Citadel as a relevant football power, which they haven't been recently since he left. And he also was at Lenore-Rhine. So he has a lot. He has tons more coaching experience than Will Healy. He was the runner-up from all accounts. All the rumors I've heard on the message boards and on Twitter and through various other sources. And the other runner-up was the former App State head coach. He's familiar with our program. He's played us a couple times, I believe, back in 2019, and I think he was the coach then. And this year, Tre Lamb's first game. Sean Clark. He's a good coach, but he just has not worked out at App State. It's just one of those
Appalachian.
deals.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of guys get their shot at their alma mater, and then they kind of just fizzle out. It's happened one too many times, but
Multiple
Will
times.
Healy,
Mm-hmm.
yep. Will Healy, I think he was the most enthusiastic about the job. Is from what I've read, I think that might have been the case. Was most invested in the job. I know we all would have loved to see Mike Houston here as a former FCS national championship head coach, but I think he got fired from ECU because of portal, like
Yeah,
NIL and portal reasons, which is kind of the
Mm-hmm.
opposite direction of what ETSU is looking for. So I think Will Healy is a lot more focused in that sphere. Yeah, my take on the Will Healy hire, I think there's positives and negatives to it. Obviously,
I agree.
his head coaching experience at Austin P. I mean, you've got to discount that first year. He was coming. I think people recently, Austin P's been up the last few years. Had several coaches come in and go and had success with what's his name that went to UTEP, Scotty Walden.
Scotty, yeah. Scotty
But
Walden.
they used to be a doormat program in the OVC. They were kind of they used to be non-scholarship, in fact, way back.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Late 90s, early 2000s. Like they had left the OVC and gone to the Pioneer League. And they had won like 14 games in in between like 2007 and when Will when he started
Will Healy took over.
when Will Healy took over. Sorry, I blanked on Will Healy's name for a minute. But when he started in 2016, they won like 14 games in like 10 years, which is crazy to think about. So he had that red mark, and he built them up year by year. Had a 8-4 record, didn't make the FCS playoffs, and had a down year the next year because I think a lot of his talent graduated or went elsewhere. And then he got hired away at Charlotte to a doormat, new fledgling FBS program themselves. Got hired there, took him to a bowl game year one. Sort of had troubles due to COVID. I think he got impacted by COVID and just the fact that Charlotte's kind of they don't really have a football culture. They have a good fun fact. Our ETSU's William B. Green Jr. Stadium is based on Charlotte Stadium. I don't know if you knew that, Casey.
Didn't know that. Didn't know that. Interesting.
But
didn't know that.
But yeah, goes there, goes downhill. Has a consistent offense. We kind of discussed this in the group chat earlier. His offenses they look semi decent, but I think the
pretty
problem.
Good. Yeah.
They had consistent QB play with what's his name, Chris Reynolds. I remember hearing that name quite a bit a few years ago, sort of being an under the radar QB in FBS. But the issue was the defense, is what it sounds like from Charlotte fans.
Yeah,
boards.
From Charlotte fans. Yep.
I do know one thing that's been brought up all over the place is his recruiting methods or his recruiting. He's a great recruiter, and his players love him. I have a friend that's a coaching buddy. He said he's a great guy. So of course players like to play for him. He's 39 years old. He's full of energy. Just I know we're kind of pissed off at Tre Lamb right now, but sort of the same vein of a Tre Lamb,
Yep.
Scotty Walden, someone
Younger
like that.
guy, but older.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he has a decent amount of experience. I'd say it's kind of a high floor, low ceiling type of hire. I don't know if you'd agree with me, Casey, on that one. Sort of like someone that's not going to leave 2 or 3 years down the line. I think he's going to be here 4 or 5 years at least.
Here for a minute.
Because
if things work out, I think.
Yeah. If he's not
could be here good while.
George Cole's bad or something. Like,
yeah.
We don't need another hire like that. I think Doc's done his research. It's interesting to note, talking about the hiring process. We've seen the rumor that Dr. Nolan heavily influenced this hire.
Had the final say on Healy. Yeah.
I think it was down to Healy in Houston. He went with Healy. So
it's kind of a head scratcher, but if he believes in Healy, then I trust Doc and Dr. Nolan will get it right.
I mean, they've gotten some good men in the program. Of course, Steve Forbes, Carl Torbush, Randy Sanders, Brooks Savage. The pedigree is there for hiring. And of course, our football coach, dearly departed football coach that went to Tulsa. But the less said about him, the better in passing. I think you can agree on that one, Casey.
Unfortunate circumstance.
Yeah. I think just looking around the conference, this puts us about mid-tier coach-wise.
Mid-tier, yeah. I agree.
I don't know. It's really going to depend on Will Healy, his ability to build a staff around himself.
Build a staff and build a roster.
Because since he's not been a head coach for 2 years, he doesn't have like a built-in staff that's coming with him. He doesn't have another thing, the transfer portal, of course. He's going to have to get out there and recruit hard. He's going to have to recruit hard. Maybe bring some of his – because he was currently the running backs coach at Georgia State. Sort of get in the ear of some of these FBS players or FCS players that their coach left and they don't really have a home, but they can't move up. Or they got to move down. Get in the ear of all these guys. Stabilize all the kids that signed. Did any of the? I don't know if you know, Casey. Did any of the players that signed get out of their what would it be called? The
letter of intent, NLI.
Yeah, NLI.
I don't think Daniels did. That was our big running back that we landed. I don't think he did. I think he's still interested in coming too, because I saw he followed Healy on X today. So
Jaden Daniels would be a big keep for that recruiting class. Keeping him in Bird, I know several people are high on him.
Yeah, that quarterback Bird.
Quarterback from, I think he's from North Carolina.
North Carolina, I think it was, yeah.
I hope both of those stay up. I know several players. It's hard to keep track of how many people leaving the portal now. Sometimes it's not even worth mentioning these days.
Yeah.
I just kind of throw my hands up when you have a coaching change. Everything's on the table.
Yeah. everybody's gonna go in.
Yeah, everyone's just gonna enter the portal, and some may come back. It's so hard to, especially at the FCS level. Like you're not attached to your players hardly at all. If you get a player that stays 2 or 3 years, you're lucky these days. Because if they're good enough, they transfer up to FBS, and if they're not, they're out after a year.
Transfer down or canned.
Yeah. Transfer to some lowly or low level FCS school. The Charleston Southerns of the world and stuff.
Yeah.
But another interesting thing, one player to mention, I don't know if I'm gonna look it up. Steven Johnson he was from Bristol. He was at Charlotte.
Oh yeah, he's at Charlotte.
I'm not sure if he was.
Did him and Healy cross paths or no?
Let me see. ETSU. Steven Johnson. He may have been recruited. About him. He may have been recruited by Healy's staff.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at his stats. He was not there. I don't know if he's a true sophomore or redshirt sophomore. Let's look. He's a redshirt sophomore, so he was there when Healy was there.
Oh, he was there when Healy was there?
He was there.
Oh, okay.
So that's a connection.
Okay, that's a good sign. Maybe he'll be.
I'd say he'll probably retain there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
But back to being in the mid tier of the SoCon, I'd say he's a better coach than. We still have
the
Mike
VMIs
Jacobs,
and the Citadels of the world.
VMs and Citadels, Wofford. We're probably about tied with Western Carolina and Sanford at this point.
It's a fair assessment. On that level,
Chattanooga and Mercer. Mike Jacobs, he's a good coach. I'm surprised Mike Jacobs hasn't gotten a look from an FBS school.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm shocked.
Well, who knows? If depending on how they do here, I think they play North Dakota State Saturday. Mm-hmm. So we'll see what happens there. If they lose, maybe he'll be on a coaching radar or something.
Mm-hmm. I don't think there's that many more open jobs available at this point.
Okay.
I know Jacksonville State hired Bill Clark from UAB fame.
Okay.
I think that's going to happen. I forgot to put him on my list, on my coaching candidates list, but I don't think he was going to come here. But Will Healy was on my list. He was kind of the fourth or fifth candidate. I feel like he was. Yeah. He's a solid candidate. He's kind of the middle of the road candidate. Isn't gonna wow you. With his scheme.
Not a wow, but not a completely outlandish.
Yeah, he's just he's not like a assistant coach from an FCS school that.
Yeah.
Essentially, George Quarles would.
Yeah. He's not a Quarles level.
An assistant coach that hadn't accomplished much or was.
Yeah.
Just a favor hire. Usually, when you know if hire is a favor hire when everyone's like, what is going on?
Yeah.
But
I'm ready to get behind him now, though. I was a little skeptical at first, but
I support him. I'm happy with the hire. If that's the best, if he's invested in the program and he has a plan, he's not just here to be here. If he has a plan of who he's going to recruit, has a method, has a 4 or 5 year plan for the program, I'm down with it. if
Same here.
honestly, I appreciate that. After we just went through having a coach with one foot out the door the whole season, I he should have, not to get into a Tre Lamb rant, but that's just kind of, I just don't appreciate that. It's one thing to
Yeah.
have your eye on another job, but to not even build your program up past a year, that just speaks to immaturity. But I think Will Healy's going to be a more experienced guy. I think he's going to know more, be a better game manager. He did upset
He's got something to
FBS
prove.
Duke. Yeah, he's got something to prove. He's got that black mark on his radar after getting fired from, or the red mark on his resume after getting fired at Charlotte. And he's just overall, he has a 28-45 record as a head coach. I think I mentioned it already, but he's got to push that up. He wants to be remembered. Wants to build something somewhere. And maybe he won't be as apt to move for a FBS job after what he experienced last time. Usually when you choose the first job that offers you, you don't end up doing much.
Yeah, I think that was a big factor when Sander and Dr. Nolan were vetting candidates. Was they wanted a guy that we could retain. They don't want like a proven winner or something that will just leave again like Tre Lamb did.
Yeah. He does have some good staff. It's funny to mention his OC, one of his OCs at Charlotte, just got fired. He was the offensive coordinator at Florida State, Alex Adkins. I'm not sure if we want to bring him in or not, just on how bad Florida State's offense
Florida
was
State
this year.
was pretty. Yeah, they're pretty rough.
And one of his defensive line coaches, or his defensive coordinators, is the defensive line coach at the Buffalo Bills now.
Oh wow! Okay.
So hopefully he can build a staff of proven candidates or people that know, no coaching, no recruiting.
Success.
I just want to know who the OC is going to be and who the DC are going to be, because if it's
those are big positions.
It is so key since we went with the Will Healy hire. He's more of, I think he's more of like a motivator type, rah-rah type coach. He's less about the scheme, and more about motivating his players.
More of a master motivator.
So he's going to need some good support staff around him. It's kind of like, I'd say like a Jim Harbaugh-esque type coach. PJ Fleck is another type coach like that. Coaches in that vein, where they need a good staff around them to become the best version of themselves. If they miss on one key component, it's usually, it becomes apparent. I do hope he is more has more game IQ for like situational awareness is what I was trying to get at. Just like fourth down calls and scenarios where you don't go for it on fourth down on your own 30 unless you're Kenny Dellingham at Arizona State or playing NCAA 25.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest issues I had with Lamb was how many times he botched those kind of situations.
I just
Fourth and
think
short or on the goal line. He just botched so many of those.
the inexperience really showed up just like in that whole like the QB battle. Like honestly, the starter should have been Jalen King the whole year, regardless of the turnovers. I think he threw Jalen King under the bus, kind of.
I do too.
Because I asked a question on the coaches show mid-season. I think right before we played Sanford, I believe, right after the Wofford game. He said Jalen King was progressing well, but then like 2 games later he benched him.
Pulled him.
I
so
don't
odd.
understand that. I do not understand that one.
Yeah. It's just he didn't have any faith in his QB room at all.
If you're a coach, I think a coach, you've got to trust in your players 100%, regardless if you believe in them or not. You know, if you're going to replace them after the year, so be it. But you've got to believe in your players that you have on your team. You can't say,
can't throw them under the bus.
You can't do that, man. You just gotta be a leader. You've got it when there's tough moments.
Gotta own it.
I think that is the key root of why we ended up hiring Will Healy. He's a motivator, and at that core, in a situation like that, players are going to step up if they are motivated. I do think a lot of players, don't quote me on this, but I think players are going to like him a lot more than they did Tre Lamb, to be completely honest. Just the impression I get.
The impression I'm getting right now, he seems pretty genuine. He seems like he wants to win here, wants to be successful, and I mean, he still hasn't coached a snap in the blue and gold yet, but pretty excited about what I'm hearing so far.
We will see game 1 against Murray State next year. I kind of wanted to segue into that, just kind of previewing next season. Of course, we have our conference schedule, which hasn't been released yet, but our non-conference, once again, I'd say it's not as tough as this past year on paper, outside of one game, which we will get to. But still, it's a lot of FCS schools, a lot of name FCS schools. Technically, West Georgia's still transitioning, but they are a D1 team now. They our 4 games are on the August 30th. We open against Murray State at home. Hopefully, we're ready. Hopefully, Will Healy has the team prepared. We should win that game, regardless of what
should win. I think we'll have a good crowd too. Be a FCS team at home. So
second straight year we've had a Missouri Valley Conference team at home. North Dakota State this past year. I'm glad we're not playing them this season. Just because I don't know what our team's going to look like going into this year. But then I get to that tough game. Our second game, it's kind of a doozy. We're going into Neyland Stadium, taking on national title contender Tennessee at Neyland Stadium. Second game for a first year head coach. That's going to be a rough one, man. I just hope we can.
I mean, if we
score, if we
could score a touchdown, that would be, yeah.
Because this isn't like the 2021 team. I think every ETSU fan knew. It was like, I think we can beat Vanderbilt. You know, I mean, I did too.
Yeah.
going to that game.
I did too. Yeah.
This is not like that.
This is different. Yeah. This is different.
So after that game, which will probably be good payday for the program. But after that game, we play at West Georgia, part of a home and home. We get them back at William B. Green
Coming home with
Jr.
them
next year, or 2026. I don't know if that'll be a tough game or not. I don't know. I don't know much about West Georgia.
I think they beat Samford. They beat Samford this. I think they beat them this season. I think it was.
So it'll be especially since it's a road game. It'll still be a tough place to play. If we can get a win there, I feel confident about our chances going 500 on the season. And then we have Elon, return of a home and home. I think we should beat them again. They didn't look too great when we played them before. I think we could easily dominate them at home, regardless of who we have on our team. But it's a mixed bag when it comes to those non-conference games. I think we'll be around 500-ish, maybe 6-5, 5-6. It's probably my prediction. I think we'll struggle against tough teams in the SoCon. And of course, we'll beat the VMIs, the Citadel, Wofford. I think we'll beat all three of those. So if we could get above 500, I'd be happy.
I'd be happy with that. Yeah.
That's all I have. So that was sort of just a preview of next year. It's kind of tough to know, especially since we don't know what the complexion of our team looks like right now.
Yeah. He ain't made a presser yet. I think is the press conference tomorrow at 2 or something.
It probably is. I assume he's already in the Tri-Cities if he has accepted the job. But I'd say the next sort of getting into that transfer portal stuff, I know he's going to have to get a staff assembled quick to get ahead of that.
Yeah.
Because it opened this week, and we've seen numerous players already entered. Most of our impact players are out the door. They're heading to Tulsa, most likely.
Probably, all right. Yep.
But if you had to give your initial grade for this hire, what would you give it, Casey? I kind of want to do this before we transition to basketball.
Probably a B minus, B, something in that range. Just average, not like you were saying earlier, not a splash higher, but not a terrible one either.
I'm torn between a C plus and a B minus too, sort of like in between that on a scale. He's not gonna wow you, not gonna do a lot of crazy stuff. Probably have a all right offense and play disciplined football. I think that's what I'm gonna expect from this hire. Not really a lot of penalties, I'd say. That's the impression I think.
And run first offense too.
Especially since
I know in our group chat running backs coach, and I know in our group chat they're talking about how Georgia State was getting like 4.4 yards a carry. So if he can maintain that here, that'd be great.
Just another thing to note, when he was given, he received the Eddie Robinson Award in 2017, Austin Peay, for his turnaround of Austin Peay. He also got the #1 rated FCS class in 2017. So
Oh wow,
his recruiting
that's
prowess.
impressive.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that recruiting, that's pretty big. Okay,
Out
I didn't know that.
recruiting other like Missouri Valley and Coastal, what it's called now, athletic schools.
Yeah, Coastal Athletic. Uh-huh. It's pretty
Let's
impressive,
see.
honestly. Eddie Robinson, is that like the coach of the year FCS or?
I think so. Let me check. I'm gonna see. FCS Coach of the Year award. Yeah, it's the Eddie Robinson Award. That's the Coach of the Year award.
Oh wow. Okay, so that's pretty impressive then.
Mm-hmm.
That adds to the optimism a little bit. Yeah, I've kind of seen mixed reactions about the hire. Like some people were really disappointed, and
Mm-hmm.
then others are pretty optimistic
Yeah, I'd say
across X and Buck
it's just
Nation.
kind of it's one of those hires that's going to split the fan base no matter what. It's not a home run like Tre Lamb was
Mm-hmm.
considered. It's not a well-known coordinator, like Randy Sanders was. That he was at Florida State and Tennessee and Kentucky.
See in Kentucky, yeah.
Healy's just, I'd say he's an average coach that has the potential to move up based on how he's recruiting and how he builds his staff. Those are the two big things.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all I have tonight for football. Unless you've got anything else you want to say about the hire or the state of ETSU football.
Pretty much hit it on the head. I mean, that's all I got to say.
I'm excited for the future, and I hope Will Healy comes on this podcast. I never got Tre Lamb to get on here. I've had Brooks Savage. Need to get him on here. Need to get more guests coming on. But I'm excited for the future. I'm putting my trust behind Healy until he proves me wrong or right. He's going to be our leader going forward. I know we both have been skeptical. There's a lot of skeptical people of the hire, but we're just gonna have to wait and see. Can't do anything.
Gotta wait
now.
And see and rally behind him, and he's our guy. So
we'll see in a year.
Yep.
I'd like to quickly transition to before we end the episode tonight. I just mostly want to come talk about Will Healy, but we're going to sort of talk about basketball too. The Bucs, it's finals week for the Bucs, so they haven't had a weekday game. Last Saturday night, they flew out to Wichita State. Had a tough road loss. We hung in there. First half, they just came out, kept punching us in the mouth, and second half we came out and we played a lot better. If we had not, I think it's the tail of the season, all of our losses. If we did not play poorly in the first
too
half,
deep of a hole.
Digging holes. That's the name of the game with this team. So we have to shoot our way out, and we scored 50 points in the second half, but they were up by like 14 points at half, so it really didn't do much good. We did get it fairly close towards the end, I believe. To like 5 points, something like that.
I think the JMU game we cut it to 5. I think the Wichita game we cut it to like 7 or something like that. And we were down by like 16 and 20 in both of those. just dug ourselves too deep of a hole to come back out of. I've seen a lot of good things.
Yeah, I really enjoy this team, even with like the injuries and stuff, like the way they battle. But come SoCon play, they're going to be battle tested. Some of these teams that haven't played as tough of schedules in the SoCon, they're not going to know how to handle a team like ETSU. I think it's a load of crap that Furman and Sanford have the best record so far. Because because I know Furman
and the
played
Citadel,
Kansas.
The Citadel has almost an identical record as us, and they've played like 4 D2s so far.
I know.
So,
I think Chattanooga and ETSU have played the toughest schedule by far in the conference.
Yeah, I agree.
Because we've been playing a lot of good mid-majors that are tourney contenders. Eastern Kentucky, Wichita, JMU, Charlotte.
Yeah, Wichita.
Yep. Charlotte's on the road, but I don't know if they're NCAA tournament contender. They're probably not.
Yeah.
But
Davidson.
Yeah, Davidson too.
Davidson's pretty good. Yeah.
And of course, we played High Point in our exhibition game. Sorry, I had to get a yawn in there. Let me pull up. Our next game is this Saturday. They just changed the game time from 3 to 1.
3 to 1, yeah.
Yeah, 3 to 1 today. On Saturday. I will probably be unable to watch. Well, I'll be watching on my phone because I will be in Indianapolis.
Yeah, I will too.
Saturday.
Nice.
Because, but I think we should get the win over Jacksonville. They are about on the level of like Queens or Austin P. I think they're about like Austin P.
Or Austin P. Yeah.
I think they're slightly better than Upstate, but I'd say they're about Austin P level. Let me look at.
They got beat pretty good by Fort Atlantic the other night. It's like 85 to 60 something, I think.
Yeah, right at 500 as a part of the. I know down there's a lot of fan base down there in Jacksonville, and they're hosting a meet and greet with Coach Savage. I know.
Oh yeah,
Chris Timmerman. That's Chris Timmerman that was on the podcast last year. He is going to be down there in Jacksonville.
He's going to be down there.
I know he was trying to get John to go down with his family, but he said no.
Dang.
Let's see. I'm trying to look at Jacksonville's schedule. It's not low. No, they got beat by Georgia 102 to 56. Their wins are over Florida Tech. See, they've got beat by Mercer by 1 point. They
beat Virginia Tech.
That was one of those bye games. Beat South Carolina State. Lost to Furman by quite a bit. Lost to Florida. So I'd say they're a decent team, but not a great team. Sort of like Austin P. They got Robert McRae, who ETSU, I believe, recruited when he was going to Wake Forest.
Yep, we did. Yeah, I think Savage was trying to get him, or Hughley, Joe Hughley.
He's their leading scorer.
And
they have another guard, Zach Bell. You see a transfer? No, their top two players are players that played there. But after that, there's not much scoring in their front court or on their bench. Yeah. So they're kind of I don't think they shoot particularly well as a team. They only shoot 33% from three, 67% from free throw, 42% overall. Then after Jacksonville, we take on Elon. After this long road trip, take on Elon on Wednesday night. I will also be unable to attend that game. Hopefully, we pay back Elon for last year. They are 6-3. They've looked pretty good. They smacked Wofford.
Yeah, they
beat
smacked
Penn,
Wofford.
Navy.
Yep, I saw that.
Beat Notre Dame.
Uh-huh.
They lost to Gardner-Webb in Maine, in North Carolina. I know that at the beginning, I believe they were up on North Carolina at one point in their game. So that'll be a tough game at home. Thankfully, it's at home. Hopefully, we get some payback for last season. But yeah, Bucs have been playing pretty good so far this season. Just need to get more consistent and get healthy. I think they are on the right track heading as we close down non-conference play.
They should go 3-0 in this last little bit, this last little stretch.
Going into conference play, we need to be above 500. Regardless of what happens, we need to be above 500. I know we're 6-4 right now. But if we win on Saturday, I'd say we have a good chance at doing that heading into SoCon play. I don't know if you have any other comments on the basketball team so far this year.
I think it's pretty remarkable that Kamari Peterson's averaging a little over 18 points here to lead our team. That's pretty special. He's had a great start to this campaign here. If him, Seymour, and Karan can keep playing the way they're playing, I think we should roll over Jacksonville Saturday.
And get John.
We need
Bugs
to, and we
too.
should win. Yeah, Bugs too.
Bugs. If Bugs,
we need Bugs' 3 shooting.
Step up to the plate, have more consistency on offense. I think we're the team to beat in the SoCon. I know there's.
Yep.
If we could have got one of those 2 games, I really wish we hadn't lost to Eastern Kentucky at the start of the year.
That was a tough loss.
3 tough losses. All of our 4 losses have been tough. I wouldn't say we blew any of them. I just say it's one of those deals. Just getting unlucky. Too many turnovers. Too many
turnovers. Too many missed shots.
That's the
stuff
name
like
of the
that
game.
adds up. Yep, just gotta make shots.
Well, I think that's about all I have for tonight. I want to thank Casey for coming on and discussing a little bit about our new hire for the football program. It's a great time to be a Buck, regardless of what this week has looked like, the craziness of this week. I think the Bucs are building something in their football program, and I'm glad to be a part of it. If you ever want to come on the podcast, just let me know. I thank you, Casey, for coming on. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure to have you on. I think that's about all I have for tonight. Donate for Bucs to Good, or Bucs for Good, the NIL
Bucs for
fund
Good.
Yeah, Bucs for Good. I butchered that. But I thank you all for watching. Hopefully this gets as many views as the live stream earlier this week. But Godspeed, go Bucs, and you all have a good night.